Welcome, everybody. And let me tell you about a little bit about our guest tonight, okay? Tonight, we're really delighted that we have a guest who is just someone that many of you may already know. And for those of you that don't, you'll become fans by the end of the night, okay? So the person we're having on today, the special guest, she has a 5-octave voice. This is one of the most unusual things for any vocalist in music to be able to scale 5 octaves. She's worked with over 30 multi-platinum Grammy award-winning artists, including Barry White, Jermaine Dupri, El DeBarge, Nicholas Joseph, Philip Bailey, Israel Houghton, Coolio, Andre Crouch, Gladys Knight, and many, many more. Her previous touring and studio work has taken her around the globe, and she has had appearances on The Tonight Show, The Today Show, the Grammys, the Arsenio Hall Show, Soul Train, UK's Chocolate Radio, and many more. So she also her voice is built for jazz, soul, and R&B. It's just a wonderful blend, and you're going to really enjoy it. A new release comes out 2 days from now, everybody. Saturday, October 7th. It comes out. It's called Harvest for the World. It pays homage to a family classic of the Isley Brothers, and it's an awe-inspiring rendition. And it's Harvest for the World was recorded by the Isley Brothers many years ago. So please welcome a very special guest to the Power Hour, Patrice Isley. Patrice, welcome.
Hi, Will. How are you?
I'm great. I think I've told people enough about you to lead in to your interview tonight. So I always start off by asking our special guest, and I think what your fans want to know, and we already are developing a whole bunch of people. We have over 40,000 people already tuning in. And what I want you to tell everybody is what's cooking. I mentioned your new release. Why don't you talk a little bit about that and stage appearances coming up? Whatever you're doing.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for inviting me on your show. I mean, it's just such a privilege and an honor. You have already such a legacy that's built, and I'm just honored to actually be here and to be before your audience. So I wanted to thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I wanted to say that first.
Well, thank you. It's wonderful. I appreciate it.
And as far as what's cooking, this is such perfect timing, you all. I have a new song that's coming out. I'm not sure when you're going to view this, but it's coming out on October 7th, which is actually my birthday. It's a wonderful birthday gift. I did a remake of a song that I enjoyed in my youth called Harvest for the World. And it's a remake, as you mentioned, of the Isley Brothers song. And it's going to be released on a label in the UK called Expansion Records. So I'm just really thrilled about this release. It was produced by, I'll say, a dear friend of mine. His name is Cornelius, or they call him Corny Mims. He's a Grammy Award-winning producer. And we've worked together over the years, but this is our first song together. So I'm just so excited, you all. I'm just really happy.
That's wonderful. And I'm going to be playing that song very shortly. So, do you have any concerts coming up? Any tour dates? Anything you want to mention?
Well, I'm going to be on the East Coast in November. I have a few appearances there in the DMV area, which is like the Washington, Baltimore area in November. And you know what? This is something I'm really excited about in America, because I'm sure you all are watching from everywhere, according to the statistics. So I'm blushing. But there's a store or a chain called Macy's department store. And they have a store design that they've come out with. And there's only a couple of them in the nation. And they've just recently opened one up in Las Vegas. So I'm scheduled to also be there in a few weeks. So you can stay tuned to my website, patriceisley.com, where I'll list upcoming performances and appearances. So yeah,
wonderful.
They have been performing at their new store here. So it's exciting.
That's really great. Now, the remake of the song, when the Isley Brothers recorded it, it was like 1976. Is that right?
I would say yes. I was a mere baby. Is anyone
calculating? So, this is a good time to start off. We're going to play your song for you. All right. So everybody can hear Harvest
Right.
for the World. So after, maybe you can set it up and tell everybody, you did mention that it's a remake, but, why did you choose to do it now? And what's different about how you approach the song?
Okay, well, I chose it now because the way things are in the world, part of my assignment with my instrument, with my voice, with my purpose is to sow hope, to help in any way that I can to make people become more unified and to bring them joy anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes in a song. So of course, I'm related to the Isley Brothers through marriage, and we may get into that later. But growing up, I absolutely loved the Isley Brothers. And this is one of the songs that I used to listen to that brought me hope. And it talks about unity, children, boys, girls, everyone. I mean, it's just a beautiful song of hope. And as far as the approach, we wanted to be respectful and keep the same feel of the song. But vocally, I just tried to make sure, again, that I brought a little bit of my vocal ambiance. Like Mel said, I'm blessed to have a 5 octave range, so I can sing really high and really low. But we found a sweet spot right at the top middle of my voice to try to just bathe this song for a new generation. So that's the best way that I can describe
Yeah,
it.
you sound like a contralto. Am I right?
I'm actually a lyric first soprano,
Oh, really?
but
Okay.
so I'll drink a little more tea and you can hear the upper, the upper range. So right now, the weather is changing, so you're hearing
Yeah.
my mid to lower range, and I know you
Yeah.
know music for you to be able to call that out.
All right. Well, I'm going to put us both backstage, and I'm going to bring up your song so
Okay.
everybody can listen to it. Okay.
All
So
right, great.
here's Harvest for the World.
All babies together, everyone I see.
How absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Wonderful song. Really awesome. I have a question I didn't ask you before. Where are you located tonight? Where are you?
I'm actually in Las Vegas, Nevada, so I'm on the West Coast.
Okay. If you look down at your name below your picture, you see
Okay,
in blue. You see it in blue.
so we're gonna do a wardrobe change. I'm gonna put my glasses on now because I'm over
Okay.
30.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Because I want people to know who you are. You see
Okay.
you see the blue area under your name,
Yes, it says
your
Patrice.
picture. Yeah, under your picture. Just click on the blue. Click on your name and add in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay, let's see here.
If you click on it, it should open, and you can type in.
Okay, where it says edit name, is that where I
Yep.
click?
Yep.
Okay,
And
and
then
then
put in Nevada. You'll put in Las Vegas.
all right,
Just
I'm
put
gonna
in
put
Las Vegas. That's good. So everybody will know who you are.
that sounds good. Should I put Nevada NV or in
Yeah.
Nevada?
Yeah. That's good.
Say,
And then click done. Good. There it is.
I see yours.
You see? You're up there. Wonderful. Okay. You know, this song is so terrific, and what I want people to know, a lot of people think an artist just goes into the studio and records a voice and walk away, or they go on stage to perform, and they've done these songs before, so what do they have to prepare for? So I want you to talk a little bit about how you got to be Patrice Isley. At least, I know your parents were Dalton Robert and Lila Roberts, and you were raised in Houston, Texas. So why don't you pick up the story from there and tell us all about your household?
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, again, I was born in Houston, Texas. I had really, I was blessed with some amazing parents. My dad, Dalton Roberts, was a businessman, so we traveled a lot when I was growing up. We lived in the Midwest. We moved back and forth between Cleveland, Ohio, and Houston, and some other cities. And my mom, Laurel Roberts, was a school teacher. And my mom noticed at a very young age that I had a gift, and I'll forever appreciate her for that. She taught me how to write by the age of 2. I was writing literally. And then by the age of 3, I could read and write.
Yeah.
So I know that was pretty remarkable. And this is before the internet and before computers and all that kind of stuff. And I actually wrote my first song at the age of 3. No, it's a true story. And I remember the title. It was called Come to the Sea with Me and Have a Cup of Tea.
That's
And
great.
that basically was the song. And I remember I wrote it and left it on a little doily for her. You have to Google what doily is if you're not over 35. I'll keep moving.
I know what a doily is. I just qualified.
Okay. You mentioned your mom earlier before we were on the air, so she probably had some doilies.
Yep, she did.
Yeah. So by age 4, Tom Jones and Tina Turner were like really
Oh
hot.
man.
And I loved them. My mom would freak out when they would come on. So I loved watching them perform. They used to have this show where, vests and fringe and go-go boots were in style back then. So I was little. So I had a complete complement of go-go boots and fringe outfits. So every day I would dance around the house and put on shows and try to mimic those 2 artists. I had 2 younger sisters. So once they were born, they were part of the band. I would get the oatmeal boxes. And so at 4, I was producing shows in the house for any relative or wayward neighbor that would stumble in, the post person, or we could say postman back then. But yeah, so it was just an exciting time when I was young. My dad, I want to mention this about my father. He had a beautiful voice, and he used to walk through the house and sing these amazing Sam Cooke licks. Um, he would sing Eddie Kendricks from The Temptation, the high notes, and then he would turn around and sing these amazing baritone and bass notes from quartets, like gospel quartets. So for me, it wasn't strange to have a wide vocal range. I just thought that that's what happens, when people sing. So, and as far as my mom, again, she was a school teacher, so very disciplined. Household was pretty strict. We had manners but she loved music, so we listened to everything. She would play Barbara Streisand, she would play Melba Moore, Neil Diamond, Seals and Croft. So we were exposed to a lot of music. And when I was growing up, because my dad was in business, he was kind of a pioneer during a racially charged time. But he would travel in business and open up chains of fast food restaurants in different cities. They would send them to franchise restaurants in different cities. So in I graduated high school a year early. So in 12 years of school, I went to 13 different schools.
Wow.
Yeah. So emotionally, that was a little tough, for a kid.
Could have been in the
But
military.
yeah, I imagine, just like military families and what they go through. And if I'm talking too much, please,
No,
pause.
no. This is wonderful. You're charming. Go ahead.
All right. And yeah, you can hold the flag up. I can put my glasses back on so I can see the
You're good. You're good. You go, girl.
Okay. But the cool part is, at different times we would live in different neighborhoods. So and sometimes be the only, Black or African American family there. So I grew up listening to Kiss, to the Bay City Rollers, Journey, Foreigner, Chicago, all the city, Boston. We listened to everything, soul and all types of music. So that broadened my diversity in musical ability and exposure and diet. So last but not least, I'll say by 5 years old, we were living in Indianapolis at the time, and I was picked up as a regular on a TV show there called Romper Room. It was a kids show.
I know that show. Yeah.
So they were smart to move me out of the living room and performing for anyone that would look at and watch me. Like, this just put her on set, So that's kind of how it started. And then the circus for a quick minute. So it just goes on and on. So that's
What about in public school? Were you in the choir, or did you play an instrument?
Believe it or not, I didn't play an instrument. I wish I would have been forced to do that. But as far as choir, I think by the time it was 6th grade, I had to audition for like the choral or chorus group in school. So I did a little bit there. And other than that, I'll be honest, our family didn't go to church a lot when I was growing up. So I don't have the typical background of having the experience. I had a little bit here and there where we would go every now and then to church, but I didn't join a choir until I got into college at Marquette University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They had a gospel choir. So I ended up joining it. I thought it was fun. And my last 2 years, I was the president of the gospel choir because I loved it so much.
Oh,
So,
that's great.
yeah.
So tell me, when did you decide that this could be a career? What were you doing at the time, and what kind of training did you have? Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
I can't believe you're asking me these like questions where I actually have to be vulnerable.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
I want people to
So,
know who you are.
okay. All right. Well, Mel, in my contralto range. When I was in college, I noticed I had a penchant for music a little bit, I started off as a biomedical engineering major at Marquette. So I was a mega nerd. I always was a nerd in school. And I stumbled upon understanding that, through the gospel choir, that I enjoyed music. So I took a music theory class, and then I had some really good friends that were great dancers. So they started a dance troupe on campus. And I didn't join the group, but they said, well, why don't you come and sing? So I would sing every now and then for their concerts. And then the other thing I learned was that this isn't everyone's testimony, but in college, it was very lean. A lot of college students are broke. So I was one of them. And I'm like, what can I do to get some money legitimately? So I had two 12 inches, albums. One was Your Smile by Angela Winbush. And then I had one, Kiss Away the Pain by Patti LaBelle. So even though I was 17, 18, I would go into the nightclubs that had singing contests, and I would sing one of those two songs and I would win. So I would get, $50 here, 75, 25, and that was a lot of money. So I would go and get groceries and what I needed. So, and then I got a dear friend of mine. And so we would go in like at separate times, and we would corner first and second place, and that way we split the money. So that's when I first learned I had a voice. But to speed up when it became a career for me, is once I graduated from college, I returned to from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where Marquette University is. I returned to Houston, Texas, my hometown, and I was working in sales and marketing for AT&T. And I loved traveling. Had a 5-state radius I used to cover, but the job was very stressful. And I honed my skills where I was blessed to be the top in the nation in sales for AT&T while I was there. Had a lot of cash, was young, but my soul was hollow. And as I told you, I wasn't a very, religious person because that wasn't my full upbringing, but I knew to pray. And I wanted to find out more about my purpose. So people used to always compliment my speaking voice. Sometimes they're like, well, we don't want to buy anything that you have, but we like hearing you talk, so can you call us? Can you call us back and just talk to us? And I'm like, what? So then I'm like, well, maybe I should take some singing lessons. So
or more marketing lessons.
Yeah, I know, right? But what happened, just to kind of wrap this up, I started taking, I was very nervous, and this is for anyone that's thinking about maybe taking lessons or exercising your voice. I joined a group voice class. There were about 40 students, and I used to come in and sit in the back and, just kind of whisper here and there. But the voice teacher recognized that I had something. And so she asked me to take private lessons from her. I ended up taking private lessons, and she's like, you have something. Then I was introduced through, I had a person that was doing sound engineering for Whitney Houston that was on tour that heard a cassette tape that I had. It was a Karen Wheeler song that I re-recorded called Blue is the Color of Pain. And they're like, you have something. Everyone kept saying, you have something. They said, you should study with this gentleman named David Lee Brewer. Well, David Lee Brewer had me to audition for him. I ended up being able to study with him. He's an amazing vocal coach. And he was the one that told me that you have a range, I can open it up, because Mariah Carey had just come out. And I said, I loved Minnie Riperton growing up. I want those kind of notes. He's like, you have those. So we started working, and we may have to do another broadcast another time, but through someone that was temporarily managing my career, I was able to meet Beyonce and the girls when they were young. And he said that he wanted, the manager wanted them to study with David. Well, David had me to go and pre-audition them. And he says, if you say that they should become students of mine, then let's do it. And at the time, there were about 15 girls in the group, and they were the cutest little things. They were around 8, 9 years old. And I told David, I saw some potential in a few of them, so you may want to check them out. So the rest is history. Yep. So I did start training, and I used to have to go to Beyonce's family's house to take my lessons before I ended up moving to LA to pursue my own musical career as a professional. So
how long were you taking lessons professionally?
I took them with David about almost 2.5 years, almost 3 years before I moved from Houston to LA. And to this day, he is still my vocal coach. So
yeah, you see, but this is what I want people to know. That's why I'm doing this with you, because they need to know the dedication, the amount of years you put in. There are a lot of very good voices out there. You know that as well as I do. That doesn't mean you can have a successful music career. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more with you, because I know that now you're connected to a label, but you've been an independent artist for so long. I want to talk about those two different sides of the coin. Okay. But I want people to know that no matter how good your voice is, you need to be professionally trained, and you need to put a team together that will help promote your career as an artist. So, let's talk about being independent a little bit.
Okay.
What do you like most about being an independent artist for all the years that you were?
Well, what I've enjoyed is that you basically you're in charge of your own career. So when you want to release a song, a video, do a project, like I did a one-woman show here in Las Vegas several months ago, you just do it. You can release it. There are a lot of digital distribution companies that are available and online. You don't have to ask permission. You have creative control, creative freedom. You can choose when you want to release your product. You get all the sales from your product. So those are some of the pluses.
What's some of the downside, the negatives?
And unless you have a marketing team behind you, no one may get to hear your music or know who you are. Your reach is well, I won't say that. I mean, because some people have figured out the social media and they know how to market and become viral. I haven't figured that out yet. I've just been plugging along for a while, and God's been opening up doors for me, such as this, and I thank you for this. But some of the negatives are, no one will know who you are, and you have to use a lot of your own income, and it may be a while before you see a return.
Yes,
so
absolutely. There's something that people get caught up in today, and it's numbers. It used to be how many spins do I get on the radio, and are they the same? Are they the right radio stations that report the Billboard? Will I be charting? But now everybody says, well, I have 1 million streams. Yeah, you just made $80.
right.
So monetizing a career as a full-time artist, you do need to have a team, because I don't think, you can tell me if you disagree, it's fine. I don't think you would have the time to maybe tour, record, rehearse, songwrite, and then do A&R, build your brand, have marketing, have social media. The artist can't do it, and they need a team. And management isn't what it used to be. The manager would get you to a record label. Now the manager is the record label. The manager has to do your A&R, your promoting, your distribution, touring. And the old style of how managers were paid, 10 or 15%, the average musician and artist today in the United States makes about $50,000. You're going to give your manager 10%, it's $5,000. You're not going to get a hell of a lot of work out of that manager. They have to eat too. So being an independent artist now is really very difficult. And I kind of wanted you to talk a little bit about that. Did you find it as difficult as I'm describing it?
I would say most definitely yes. At this point, I want to pay homage to my husband, Myron Isley. Previously, before marriage, I was single. Well, that makes sense. I hear him going, single, you're not making sense. And he's watching this. So let me get him out of my head. But as a single artist, everything was on me, and I used to work really hard. It would take a lot of networking, a lot of, it's a lot of work. I'll put it that way. Since I've been blessed to be married to a husband that supports my career, bless him, I've had at least another pair of hands, and he's been really great to, even like last year, and we'll get into another song shortly, where he's been by my side to help, promote the concerts, to help, finance because you have to pay people, to do the marketing and to get on air. I mean, it's a whole big conglomerate of activity. So he's just been a blessing. And even recently, I was blessed to I did a workshop here in Las Vegas called The Confident Performer. And it was co-sponsored by the UNLV, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas campus, where I was training up-and-coming artists on performance. So you have to learn to partner with people to promote your career. So it's a lot as an independent person. Now, I'm just excited that I have the opportunity just now on this single to partner with Expansion Records. They're a label out of the UK. So they have a PR person that has been dynamic, and she's starting to reach out to folks on my behalf. So I'm going to be excited to see the other side of this, where you have a team that's helping to promote what it is that you're doing.
Is that Diane?
Yeah. And then the British way to say it is Deanne.
Deanne, yes.
Is her name.
Deanne, I apologize if you heard you mispronounce your name.
That's okay.
She's terrific. Yeah, she's really great. All right. So when you decided to go with a record label, why did you make that decision?
as I mentioned, for my entire career, I've been an independent artist, and it's been beautiful, but it's been, it's been a lot. It takes a lot to promote your career. So now I just felt blessed that they have been watching me for a minute. And I had a song that was on their 2019. They put out a compilation album once a year. Expansion Records does, and I was on their 2019 compilation with the song that you're going to play in just a bit, I believe.
Yep.
So I've maintained a relationship with the label through through Deanne Hines, the PR person for the label. And when I heard this song, this Harvest for the World, it was so beautiful. And I let Deanne hear it. Paul Jackson Jr. is on it. If you all know some of the jazz music fans, Cornelius, played bass and produced it. And I'm like, I really want the world to hear this song. And then because it was an Isley Brothers remake, I'm like, it really deserves to have more than the audience that I can provide. So when Deanne approached me about let's submit it to the label and see what happens, I'm like, let's do it. Let's do it. So that is kind of how that came about. And when they got back to me and said, yeah, let's release it, I'm like, let's do it. I've been doing this by myself for a minute. So it's going to be nice to have a label that can broaden the exposure. I mean, look at this. I'm on your show. So I'm excited.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Let me just ask about your day-to-day life as a musician, as an artist. You record in the studio. That takes a certain amount of preparation. You write songs.
I do.
Right. And then who creates the music? Do you have a music director in your band?
Well,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead, please.
No, go ahead. That's the question. Who creates the
Okay.
music? Who does the scoring and charting?
Well, typically what happens is that because I write, I can I don't even want to say play keyboard because I know some monster like killer players that play. So I wouldn't dare ever say that I could play a keyboard. But normally I formulate like the structure of the song. I can pluck out enough on a keyboard to play to give to a real musician. So normally what that involves is I've been blessed to be in the business for a long time. So I have access to, some great musicians. So I'll send them the track or what I'm able to create. And then depending on the song, I have a bank of musicians that I'll reach out to that will create the body of the music around it. So they'll formulate the track. And then depending on what city I'm in or where I'm located, like my previous album, I flew to LA. I was living in Baltimore, but I used East Coast musicians and West. So we recorded some on the East Coast. And then I flew out to the West Coast and recorded there. So it just depends, on what the song calls for. So I hope I answered that okay. If not,
You're doing great because I want people to understand what the life of an artist is really like. All the preparation that goes into just recording one track in the studio, and then once you record the track, it's never over till it's over. You have post production, and you have mix and mastering, and it's a long involved process just to turn out one song, let alone an LP. Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the things I want to talk to you about. That's on the recording side. What about when you're going to go on tour or do a concert and go on stage? What kind of preparation do you do for that? How do you choose the songs first of all for that concert?
That's a really great question. And the way I'm built in my heart, how I want to answer this is just in case there's anyone that's in a similar state of wanting to grow your career. So I'll be very transparent. For me, you asked a few questions in one. How do I prepare? And again, I just taught a 6-week workshop at the university. So I'm going to crunch this into like 2 minutes or less.
Okay, go ahead.
So as an artist, you have to make sure that you prepare mentally and physically. So because I'm a vocalist, that's my instrument. Number one, I have to make sure that I get proper rest. Before a performance, I always make sure a day or two before when I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I hydrate. I may go through a gallon of water, with at least a tablespoon of salt because you don't want to drain too much of the sodium out of your body, right? I'm even careful about what I eat. Typically, when I'm doing what I should do, I'll limit the dairy, I'll limit the sugar, I'll limit things that are dehydrating like caffeine. If you drink alcohol, that dehydrates. So I make sure that I take care of my physical instrument. Spiritually and psychologically, the phone, I limit, especially the day of the performance. In a perfect world, maybe 2 days before, I go on vocal rest and I limit my exposure, because there's certain forces that will come in to try to distract or drain. And when I'm about to serve an audience with my gift, I want them to experience the purity of all my years of experience, all my preparation. I want them to have everything that I could possibly give them. So I try to limit, and they always show up, these little distractions or little
Sure.
things that, I don't know if you know what I mean, Mel.
I sure do.
Deanne calls them the gremlins. Something
Yeah.
always shows up. So you have to kind of create this bubble so that you can protect the integrity of what you're going to serve your audience.
Yeah,
Now,
you know, in spite of your good intentions, life intrudes. Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, exactly. And it's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
And then as far as what to select for a concert, I try to find out as much as I can about the audience. And again, in my case, because I have a diverse diet, where I can do from jazz to rock to R&B to soul to gospel. I have a song that we're going to release soon, where I'm doing a Celia Cruz cover where I'm singing in Spanish. My previous album, I had a Latin, song on it, Latin jazz. So I really try to get the insight of what would best give the audience a great experience, So I tailor it. And then I pray. I'm a person of prayer. So I'm like, God, what do you want to flow through me to make sure that I don't want to get emotional, but the people that took time to buy tickets, to get dressed, to buy this expensive behind gas that's out there right now at the time of thing, they really take their time to come and see me, So I want to make sure that they are feeling great and satisfied. So that's how I kind of choose, what I'm going to present.
yeah, that's great. One of the things that I was in artist management for a number of years, and I used to have this discussion with artists all the time. I would ask them, okay, you have this 3 or 4 concerts coming up. What songs are you going to present? And they would say something similar to you, that
Wow.
they think about their audience and the location and this, everything. And I used to come back and go through the songs that they selected, and I would say, you don't sing this one as well as you sing that one. So why don't we take that one instead of this one? Because if you give the audience really what you do well, they'll follow you. And who said that? I believe, I'm trying to think back. I think it was Freddie Mercury. I could be wrong.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
or it might have been Chuck Berry. It was Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry said, when they asked him the same thing, how do you know what to play? He said, I play what I want them to hear, because if I take them where I want them to go, they'll love me.
Whoa.
Because if I give them what they want to hear and it's not really me that night, it's not going to connect. So, he looked at the other way around, and he always said, I want them to hear what I'm feeling, not what I think they want to hear.
That's great.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. So there's multiple ways to look at this, but for sure, the song selection is pivotal to the success of a tour and the success of a concert. Now, I don't think, again, people understand how much thought has to go into this process. And that's what this show is about, looking at different artists like yourself. And, you tell us exactly how you approach these things, and everybody does it differently, So let's play your next song. This is a good time to play the next song.
Okay.
I want to play Just Believe in Love. You want to set that up a little bit?
Yes, I will. All right. I was blessed to do my first album a few years back, and this was the title track called Just Believe in Love, and it was a cover from a group called the Jazz Band.
Yeah, I remember the Jazz Band well.
Jazz Band.
Yeah.
And when I was at a pivotal point in my life, in my youth, I was in I'll be honest, it was a dark space, which, sometimes when you're in your preteen years, you go through emotional highs and lows, and there were some things going on. And back then, we were living in Cleveland, Ohio, the Dazz Band used to be called the Kinsman Dazz Band because there was a street in Cleveland called Kinsman, which is a name. It's a whole thing. But this song came on when I was young, and it just so lifted me out of a very dark space until I noted it. And I said, you know what? When it's my time to be heard, I'm going to re-record this song. So when I approached doing my first album, I called it Believe in Love, and the title track was this song. And I just recently had a chance to meet the lead singer of the Dazz Band at the time. And I had a chance to tell him my story, how his song helped to keep me here, keep me inspired. So that's the background behind this song. Hope you enjoy it.
Terrific. Okay, let's play that song, and I'll bring up your cover again so people can see your beautiful face. And
You're so sweet.
And I'll put you into the back room with me.
Subject to give it up and throw it all away. Think again before you do it. You might need a little more patience along the way. No one ever said your life would be easy. You must take it all in stride. Hold on to your dreams and maintain all of their beauty. There's some things you should never hide. Just believe in love. I hope you hold on to love. If you believe in love, you will survive. Just believe in love. I hope you hold on to love. Keep loving your life. Keep loving your life. Sometimes in despair and you feel so bad, just count your blessings one by one. Don't go astray, keep love, that's a better way. Have hope for a brand new day, yeah. No one ever said your life would be easy. Life's a maze, it can daze you. Love can shield you from the hate that surrounds you. Have hope for a brand new day. Just believe in love. I hope you hold on to love. If you believe in love, love is alive. Just believe in love. You better hold on to love. Love is alive. Just believe in love. keep loving your life.
Well,
All right.
what a different voice from Harvest for the World.
And I want to apologize to you. That is actually the original version of
Original.
the song, and that's what I believe we sent you. But it's on YouTube under Patrice Isley, Just Believe in Love. I'm so sorry, Mel. But that's the version that I heard.
That's why I was saying for a joke, what a different voice you have.
Yeah,
I knew-
okay. All
I
right.
knew that. I knew that was the original. but,
So,
but that's
yeah,
what she said. That's what she sent me.
Please forgive me. But that was beautiful to hear, Skip Martin.
Yeah.
But it's on YouTube under Patrice Isley, Just Believe in Love. So please forgive me. That was an artist error.
That's fine. I understand completely.
Sorry.
But let's change a little bit in terms of what we're talking about.
Sure.
I'm curious if you could choose any artist from any period who was original songwriter, a vocalist, a musician, and you wanted to do a duet with that person, who would you choose?
Oh my goodness. This is such a massive question.
Yes, it is.
Because I've been blessed to work with so many amazing voices. But for what this gentleman is still alive. I appreciate, for example, the rich voice of like a Will Downing, someone like that.
Okay.
If we were a female, hey, Adele, let's do a duet.
Adele, okay.
Yeah. Even a John Legend, I'm open.
You're available, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And why would you pick that? Why would you pick John Legend or Adele? Or Will Downing?
Well, my first experience, when I first moved to LA, I was there just, a very short amount of time, and was blessed to work with Barry White. That was the first person I ever went on tour with. I was very
I love
young.
Barry White.
Yeah. And so that rich, deep voice, is just so amazing. And that was the infancy. So the person that has a deep voice that's out right now, Will Downing has a rich tone that I think would be great to kind of, dance around with the range that I've been gifted, With a John Legend type, I mean, his voice is so romantic, and because of how he writes and the stories he tells, and I'm a writer, I think that we would get together and just something amazing would happen, I think it would just it would go ballistic, And as far as females, Adele seems to have, well, she's here in Vegas, so I can go to the studio. So just let me know.
Let him know you're ready to come over there. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
She has a powerful voice. So I think I have the softer side that could pair it well with it. So
yeah, I think that'd be a great duet, a great match. It's a good choice. I like that.
thanks.
I want to change gears and talk about the industry a little bit, and I want to get into talking about the industry and how the industry's changed a lot in terms of what music people hear today.
Yeah.
The jazz stations. We're one of the only jazz stations that plays jazz 24/7. Yeah, because almost all the jazz stations are gone. The blues stations are gone. Even the rock stations are going. Yeah. And so I want to talk about hip hop. and I want to talk about it, and I don't want to talk about it with you in any kind of critical sense.
Okay.
They're wonderful artists in its own right. The music is really extraordinary, but I want to talk about the process of making music and what's changed a lot, and a lot of it has been with the nature of how hip hop music is produced, and then how what's played in urban music on radio. So I want to kind of talk about this a little bit with you and get your take on it. Okay, you know, hip hop really depended so heavily on technology. As soon as you can loop a rhythm, hip hop was created. It was created in New York, and they learned how to loop. But looping and sampling, which is a lot of hip hop,
Yeah.
is not the same as the kind of music that you create or cover, write, and that you sing. Do you think that the process of making music and what hip hop has transformed within the industry is a positive thing? I'm not talking about the music, I'm talking about the process, the technology, the songwriting. It's very different. How do you feel about a lot of that?
Well, I feel, I'll go in reverse and I'll answer your first question. As far as the process of making music, again, when I started, again, there was 2-inch tapes, the big tapes, and you'd have to manually cut and tape things together. So now the way music is done, and then bringing in hip hop, on the plus side, music is more accessible to people, whereas before the only people that could be heard were ones that could secure a music, a recording contract or deal. So on the plus side, when technology stepped in, it made it easier for more people to be heard. So that's a plus. As far as how I feel about it, well, one more statement. When I grew up, music was in the schools, and I understand that music has been taken out of a lot of the school programs.
That's right, it has.
Yeah, so they don't have as much exposure to be able to develop, and to understand music. So as far as the hip hop culture today, I'm from the era, again, where I was in the studio with people where you had to sing. I mean, you couldn't just have a computer where you sing a note. You couldn't be sharp or flat. You'd have to go back in and re-sing that note. Even now, I'm blessed when I go in the studio. I've been doing it so long, and I love it so much. The studio is my happy place. It doesn't take me long at all to come in and record a song. I can stack vocals, which means put all the background harmonies and sing it 2 and 3 times or 8 times, so it sounds really rich and fat, But what's happening now is that a computer can come in and sing. You don't even need a person. So
and there's programs that will come in and tell you when to do the hook, when to do the chorus, and then we're even created for you. And that's what I was kind of getting to. I know Sheryl Crow has been very vocal about the fact that you can't call this songwriting anymore. It's another form of computer animation. And Neil Young has said the same thing. The craft of the artist getting together with the music director and getting together with the core musicians and creating a song, those days are gone. And to try to equate music today with the kind of orchestration and complexity that music was before, it just isn't here. And in some ways it's repetitious, and urban radio, keeps pushing out the repetitious. And I think it's for a long time it's crowded a lot of artists out, and but they're coming back, and that's the thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Jazz in the UK, the young artists, whether they're doing jazz, hip hop, straight ahead jazz, jazz is being reincorporated into so much music again. And I guess I wanted to get your take on it. I understand the democratization of music, that it's more accessible.
Yeah.
But democracy isn't always the right answer. Sometimes you need leaders to say we need to go in a different direction. So I kind of want to know how you feel about the industry. Do you think the industry is creating enough diversity in music these days? What do you think?
You know what? Where I am, I'll answer it this way, is I'm hopeful. And what I mean is, no matter how many computers start writing songs and singing songs and imitating artists' voices, no matter how many people do samples, loops, and nothing against that, what I find is that you cannot imitate a human soul.
Thank you.
And that's where I live. When people come to my shows, and I hope to begin to tour more here in the US and have some opportunities prayerfully coming up in the UK fairly soon. When I sing live, people leave and they're like, I don't know what it is, but there was something, that touched me. And it's because through the joys I've had, the pain, the things I've experienced, a computer or a loop cannot imitate that.
That's right. Yeah, and again, I didn't want to make this a critique of hip hop. I wanted to make it a critique of the process of creating music and what it's become. And I think that's what you're talking about. The music that you're talking about comes from your soul, not from a computer.
Exactly. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
Yeah, and I'm excited to have, those there have been, some positive technological advances that have made recording in the studio easy and, and more smooth. But again, what I'm excited about when I'm out, there's a hunger. There's people in our age range and above and some below. They miss real music. And not just hip hop. I mean, there's other genres, that they use computers but here's the thing. I think I know there's a hunger for it. And I expect the arc to start to swing the other way, where there'll be spaces created for artists such as myself and other artists where we actually, are using our voices and our heart to write lyrics and sing and perform. So I'm
beautifully said. And I enthusiastically support what you're saying. I think that's happening. I think it's great for music. It's great for our culture. And I think it's moving in that direction. We have to wrap up soon, but so let me ask you a question. When people listen to your music, you just started to talk about this a little bit. When people start to listen to your music, what sets your music apart from your peers? What's different about you and your approach to music than other artists of your generation?
I think that the thing that sets me apart is my story. And what I mean is, you hit on it earlier in this program. There are so many people that can sing. There are so many people that write. What sets one artist apart from another? And as I mentioned, when my lyrics, the story that I tell in my original songs, they're relatable. There's something in them that when you finish hearing it, it builds hope. Just when you played Harvest for the World, and again, I apologize that I've sent the wrong one for Just Believe in Love, you can hear the life that's in it. There was something in it that sounds familiar because I grew up with people that really sang and poured their hearts into their performances. So I think there's something familiar. People say if they loved a certain artist in a certain era, when I finished singing, they're like, you reminded me of so-and-so a little bit, but there was something about it. So again, I just think the experiences that I've had, the 30 different artists I was blessed to tour with, being able to learn from them, all that's in a little crucible inside of my soul. So when I sing and when I perform or when I write a song, there's something that draws you. There's like an anointing on it that draws you, that makes you feel at home. So I think that's what sets me apart.
That's great. The great Paul Simon, the great songwriter and performer, Paul Simon, when he was talking about rap and hip hop, he said, music has two things. It has soul and it has sound. Now it has sound.
Mel, you are dropping them today, boy.
Yeah. I had Deion Parson, the great Deion Parson, has his own show now on my station, and he's a West Indies jazz aficionado and musician, and Grammy winner. And Deion is working on what he calls Jazz Ribian, which is jazz infused with all the instruments and beats and rhythms of Africa and the Caribbean. And he said something really interesting. If you want to be a good musician, you have to learn the rules to break the rules. And that's what you're talking about when you were talking about a few minutes ago, that, you know, young people need to really learn to master the craft. And then if you want to break the rules, knock yourself out. But first learn the rules. You know, the rules are important because music's very mathematical, and you know, and it has to at some point connect your soul to everybody else's soul.
Yeah.
And that takes time. It takes a lot of time to learn what that means. You know, so Patrice, you're wonderful. I want to play the last song
Okay.
of the night, Patrice's Groove. And I hope this is not a cover of
I
this
know.
really yours.
We
So,
talked about the gremlins.
okay, so I'm going to again put us in the back room, play this, and we'll wrap up.
Every time you play so smooth, makes me wanna groove. Patrice's groove. Every time you play so smooth, makes me wanna groove. Patrice's groove. When I hear you play, it makes me say, ooh. Every time I hear the melody, something inside of me starts to groove. Every time you play so smooth, makes me wanna groove. Patrice's groove. Every time you play so smooth, makes me wanna groove. Patrice's groove. Every time you play so smooth, makes me wanna groove. Patrice's groove. Every time you play so smooth, makes me wanna groove. Patrice's groove. Every time you play so smooth, makes me wanna groove. Patrice's groove. Every time you play so smooth, makes me wanna groove. Patrice's groove. Every time you play so smooth, makes me wanna groove. Patrice's groove. Every time you play so smooth, makes me wanna groove. Patrice's groove. Patrice's groove.
Wonderful. That's really delightful.
Thank you.
You want to make another comment about that song, and then we'll kind of wrap up?
It sounds, yeah, I hadn't heard it in a minute, and I was, yeah, it's, yeah. So Patrice's Groove, I love it. It's so soothing. It features Tom Schumann from the group Spyro Gyra, if you all,
Yeah.
of course, know who they are. And it was a beautiful song that we just, a gentleman named Eric Dennis and I co-wrote it. And we went into Tom Schumann's studio to record the vocal. And when Tom heard the track, he said, wait a minute. And he plugged his keyboard in. He's like, let me get on this. And so we prayed Eric Dennis had never sung backgrounds. So I had him at the mic. We did the backgrounds in one take, the lead vocals in one take. And what you heard Tom Schumann play was done in one take.
That's amazing.
All chords. So we released that one last year, and it made it to number 11 on the Smooth Jazz chart. So it's available. It's out there. And I would just, love for your audience to please follow me at Patrice Isley on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, and my YouTube channel. I have some videos there. So please subscribe. And last but not least, my website, patriceisley.com, is how you can stay in touch and see what's going on. And I'm welcome to travel and to come and do shows in your local city, town, country, or principality.
Wonderful. And Patrice, when your next tracks come out, and you talked about it a little bit, I want you back on the show so we can, go through this again and talk about some other things, other ways to look at music and look at your life and music. Tonight the show reached 111,000 people plugged in here. I don't know how many were on 3 Facebook pages that we are on, or our YouTube channel. And this went out through 11,000 affiliated stations, terrestrial internet. So, but just on Source TV radio network, we had over 111,000 people. So you made a whole bunch of new fans tonight. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
Okay. So let me ask you this last question, a very simple one.
Yes.
When they think about Patrice Isley, what do you want to be remembered as?
Someone that instilled hope in people and uplifted the culture to make them better, at least for 3 or 4 minutes of a song.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Patrice, I want to thank you for being on the show. You're a wonderful guest. You had so many interesting things to say. And, again, you're going to be a featured artist, and we're going to be playing Harvest for the World as a featured artist. And Harvest for the World is now in a daily playlist. It will be played 3 times a day, 7 days a week. So, I'm really pleased to have you on, and the best of luck to you.
Thank you, Mel. And again, like I said in the beginning, it's been an honor. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Bless you and your fans. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.